Hi everyone, welcome back to the garden. Today we are going to finish the raised bed that we put together yesterday. We made a rock raised bed sourcing stones we have throughout the property, and today we are going to finish putting it together by placing some soil and mulch at the base and then finishing it off with some organic garden soil, and then we have vegetables and peppers that we started from seed that we're going to get in the ground. They're the last seed starters we have, and we also have some cucumbers and basil that I bought that we are going to get planted into the bed today. But first I thought I'd show you a view of the brook. It's one of the most relaxing places to start off a busy day of gardening. All right, let's get going and have some fun in the garden today. Okay, so we have the UTV full of everything we need for this raised rock bed. We have the tomatoes and peppers that I started from seed this winter, the cucumbers and basils that we purchased today. Unfortunately, the cucumbers that I started from seed did not survive. We also have marigolds, tomato tone, and organic bed soil. I have an empty potting container here, and this is what I use when I need to grab some mulch and some other stuff to put on the base layer of the garden bed. So let's get started and get this bed finished. All right, we are up here in the raised bed garden zone. We have a mix of cedar beds and rock raised beds. All of the rock raised beds, the rocks we used for them, were sourced right here on the property, and I'm going to go over the bed that we finished putting together yesterday. This is how it looks before we fill it with soil and all of the beautiful plants we're going to be placing in it. So we sourced every rock here, right here on the property. This is on a little bit of a slope. It kind of curves down right here. So we have to make sure that it's level, which is why you'll see we have some of the larger rocks in the front and some smaller rocks in the back, and that's on purpose. That's to make sure water doesn't flow downhill towards all of the plants in the front and it stays even. So let's start getting it filled and get it planted. First bucket, as you can see, it has some little twigs, some dirt, and some extra mulch we had laying around. So we're going to put that at the base and see how many buckets it takes. Today, I'm gonna go ahead and take off my jacket. It's supposed to be in the 80s. I'm gonna go grab some gloves and see if we need one more bucket or if we're good to go ahead and place soil. Okay, I have my gloves. We're gonna go ahead and level out all of the mulch and soil, twigs, everything we have for the base layer, and see where it stands height-wise and whether or not we need one or two more buckets, or we can go ahead and place the garden soil. I think we're good to bring up the soil, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I don't always use Miracle-Gro. A lot of times I like the Coast of Maine soil, but it really depends on who's open when I'm out getting the soil from the stores. So our local garden center that has Coast of Maine doesn't open until 9, and a lot of times I get the soil early in the morning. I noticed soil wants to come out of this hole. So we're just going to go ahead and take this rock and block it. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can find a little stone, block that so we're not losing any soil, and to stop any critters from really coming. We have it all filled with soil. So now we're gonna go ahead and place the plants. I'm gonna bring you a little bit closer so you can see that in a close-up view. All right, we're gonna have the tomatoes in the back and on the side here because we don't want their shadow to, well, cause a shadow on the peppers and cucumbers because the tomatoes are gonna be the tallest. And then the cucumbers we're gonna grow on a trellis as well. And then the peppers are going to be towards the front, closer to the marigolds. Now, if you notice, some of these pots I upcycled are pots from when I bought plants last year, but they have 3 tomatoes in them. Some of them only have 1 tomato. Obviously last year this was chives. Now, as you can tell, they don't have tags. When I up-potted them, everything got mixed up. So when it comes to our tomatoes and peppers, it's you get what you get and you don't get upset because we don't know what they're gonna grow up to be, but we know they're gonna be delicious. Right, let's get them planted. plant the tomatoes deep, and then for this one, because I want it closer to the edge, I'm going to lay it down and then cover the stem with soil up until those first couple leaves, just like that. We're going to have a trellis here and another one there. So these are all going to go and grow up. That's why I'm planting them closer together. Okay, I don't know where you're gardening, but it's hot here in southern New Hampshire. So I had to step away, get a hair tie, or a hair clip, and some water before we finish this up. So I realized when I went inside that I forgot to place the tomato tone. So we're gonna go ahead, spread out the tomato tone for the tomatoes we've already planted, and then the garden bed will be ready for those that are still waiting. So I'm gonna move everything over to the side and hopefully not lose them. We have some very curious yellow jackets today. Next up is the cucumbers. It looks like, if you really wanted to, you could separate this into 3 different plants, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it all as one. Is obsessed with pickles, and that is the one thing she wanted from the garden, was cucumbers to be able to make pickles. And she was really bummed when our cucumber plants all died. I planted them too early, I think. So I think this will make her excited to come out to the garden. Water in the vegetables we just planted. We use the chop-in container right here. It's a little bit dirty, but it tells you how many gallons. Now we're only going to water the new vegetable garden today. Everything else had rain the last couple days, so we only need a couple gallons in there, so I think we're good. All right. So the chop-in is great if you don't have access to a hose near your garden. And right now our hose isn't working near the garden. So this will allow us to provide water until we get that functioning. With the UTV, it has this adapter that goes into the cigarette lighter. You just plug it in. You have to have the UTV on, running or in the on mode. Let me get this plugged in and show you how it works. It's adjustable, so you can have it shoot really far out actually able to see that I'm gonna hop in the UTV and head down to the brook. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go in and have some lunch, but I wanted to say thank you for following along. We got the raised rock bed all finished. Everything is planted and watered in, and we can't wait to start growing vegetables in that bed. All right, see you next time. Thanks again.